Hey guys, today we'll be reviewing the OBP Esports pedals V2. Now I have to start this off with after I made my viral TikTok on these pedals, they gained about I think 300,000 views and 30,000 likes. They have since raised the retail price on these. I don't know if it was a direct correlation, but I cannot buy these in the United States for the original price of $1,200 anymore. It is now $1,600. So my opinion on these pedals has shifted because of that statement. I actually was originally recording this video under the assumption that they were still $1,200. So I'm definitely going to have to adjust my view on these pedals because they do not match the price point that my expectations had. So we're gonna start off this video. I'm doing a voiceover, so over here I'll just explain what I'm looking at. I actually opened up the USB adapter, and shortly after I will be realizing that they sent me a spare one on accident. And part of the reason is that you had the option to order an adapter with your pedals. And I emailed and asked the supplier for these pedals. I asked them, hey, do I need to order the adapter or do I just order the pedals on their own? And they said I need to order the adapter. So I did. They came in. I got an extra one, as you can see. I'll be opening this up in a second. And when I brought that up with the retailer, I should say, they were very quick about it. They just sent me an address, and I just returned it to them, and they refunded me. So it worked out in the end. If you get a spare adapter, make sure to let the people that you bought it from know. Yeah, as you can see there, I was looking at it all disappointed because I thought it would be something else, but it was just another adapter. And as you can see over here, it comes with a few extra elastometers, I believe they're called, or let's just call them little rubber bushings for the purpose of this video. They're what fit inside of the cylinder that are on the pedal set, and it does dictate the stiffness for your pedal, so it really affects what it feels like. And I'd really recommend to play around with different styles of bushings before you decide the pedals are not for you. You can very drastically adjust the feel of your pedals with those, and you can definitely find something that can satisfy you. Anyways, going right into the packaging here. As you can see, it's wrapped up with a nice dust-proof bag. There's some nice foam insulation on the outsides and some cardboard as well. So it's fairly well protected. I don't see how you would require much better packaging than that. And, it was easy to take the pedals out. So props to OBP. But keep in mind, they have raised the price to that $1,600 price point. So what used to be impressive before is now, not as impressive, but still impressive. Everything is as it should be so far. So yeah, we're going to take this pedal set out of the bag, and look how shiny these things are. Now, I have these pedals right next to me as I'm voicing this over, and they look the exact same. Minus, of course, the dust that kind of settles in the tray portion on the bottom of the pedals. But, that's just naturally what happens with pedal sets. Like, they get dusty over time. It is what it is. I'll probably vacuum them and it'll look good as new. And right now in the video, what I was doing is I was checking the throttle pedal play, and it wasn't nearly as much as people were saying online. Like, there is barely any play in that pedal. So I was kind of like going on about how the people online maybe exaggerated that a little bit just as a little talking point. Really did not feel like had much play. Maybe I had a newer version. So let's just chalk it up to difference in manufacturing. So yeah, as I was pushing the pedals here, I was quickly realizing that it felt a lot more high quality than my other BJ Steel pedal set, especially with the clutch. There was no real mechanical snapping mechanism, but the gas damper just made it feel very satisfying to press. And what I felt with my hands was definitely felt with my feet too. It was very pleasant. to use the clutch and the gas pedal, and I genuinely think that it gives me an advantage to have a nice feeling clutch like that, especially in Porsche Cup, where you're essentially just using the clutch to launch, like you're full throttle and just slowly letting go of the clutch. And I haven't been burning out much with these pedals, and with the other ones, if you have that little unnatural clicking motion, it does feel like it does trick your brain to think it's a clutch, but it's not actually very competitive because that almost jerking motion of it unsnapping from that like latch, it does kind of create an undesirable and uncontrollable effect, and it does worsen your launches. One thing that other people mention and that I don't necessarily like is that they use, I'm pretty sure they use potentiometers. So they use little gear-driven, almost like servos to gather inputs, and I feel like they should upgrade that to magnets. All right, for this tutorial, do not use a 12 mil to bust the bronze like nut portion, because you'll be doing this completely wrong and you'll get no fluid coming out. I couldn't find a wrench in my tool arsenal small enough for the nipple on the top, but if you have like an adjustable wrench or something like that, that's gonna be what you have to go with. That's the only way to kind of like break that little silver nipple, as you can see there next to the funnel to the left. That's the only thing that you can really use to break it, to bleed it. So make sure you use gloves, make sure you have a funnel, and then make sure you have some brake fluid. I have some Pentosin Super DOT4, that'll work just fine, but it's overkill. It's a lot of it as well in that container. If you can find some cheap DOT3, just roll with that. So fill it until the full mark. So as you can see here, I'm just making sure that there's enough towels around that lead screw that nothing kind of spills out. So we're just going to be checking on the fluid level here. Again, we want to make sure that we have enough. So if we don't have enough, we have to put the funnel in and we have to top it up. And you want to keep topping it up to that full mark. You don't want to run out of fluid. If you run out of fluid, you will be bleeding air back into the system, and that's actually the opposite of what we want to do. We want to get all the air out so that when you're pressing the brake, all you feel is the fluid trying to compress. So I would really suggest just to be very patient and meticulous with this process. You don't want brake fluid getting on anything valuable or on your skin. So close that cap back up and then bust that bleed screw open with your adjustable, or if you have a wrench small enough for that. I didn't, so I just used an adjustable and I was very gentle. So when it's open, you want to push the brake pedal all the way, and then you want to tighten it. You want to righty-tighty to close it and let go of the brake pedal. Now, that, in essence, is all you have to do. Make sure that you tighten the screw before you let go of the brake. Alright? And make sure that you repeat that process by loosening it while it's all the way depressed. As you can see, you want to kind of push on it, make sure it's depressed. So loosen it, and then push while it's loose. Push all the way, and as you can see, some brake fluid started coming out. So that's how you know you're done. That's where you want to close it and then let go. So don't panic, make sure you just close it, and that's why the napkins were there, to catch that brake fluid. Make sure to wipe it down. You don't want any of that ruining your paint on the pedal box. But yeah, wipe it down. Yeah. It's really that easy, guys. It's not rocket science. You guys will figure it out. As you can see here, it gets really stiff towards the end. And there is a little bit of play in that pedal right now. So it takes kind of a while for it to load up. Now, I don't know if I filmed the way to fix that, but I will tell it to you very quickly. The way to fix that is there's a rod that connects to the brake and it has a lock nut. So you want to open up that lock nut and then you want to twist that rod righty-tighty until it almost detracts the pedal to the point where it's actuating. So you're basically getting all that slop out and making it more directly related to it's almost like preload. Think of it as preload. You're adjusting the preload on your pedal. So you're almost pushing more and loading up that fluid, so you get a more direct and fast response. And I'll probably film how to do that at the end because it requires some tinkering. Alright, so time for my long-term review. This is after 3 months of owning these pedals. I will say right now, the gas pedal and the clutch pedal show no signs of wear and are extremely responsive. They feel good. No real problems yet from the potentiometers, but you know, it's only been 3 months. The gas pedal, it doesn't noticeably shake that much when you press it, although it does kind of show up on camera now and then. So just keep that in mind. It does kind of go left and right just a slight bit, and that's something that really irks me for their new price of $1,400. I don't think that's worth that. It's definitely worth it for $1,200, but like the more you raise it, the less you can deal with the drawbacks. It just doesn't make sense to get these over a competitor that has an absolutely solid pedal. One thing I will say, absolutely giving this brand points for style. I think these are the most stylish pedals on the entire web. But I'll say, you know, I'll be the first to say that it doesn't matter what they look like when you're using them. It really doesn't. Like, I understand it does matter to some people, but look, at the end of the day, you want something that feels realistic. And let me tell you, when it feels realistic, it usually looks realistic too. And these do feel and look realistic. But I do have a big complaint coming up, and that's the brake pedal. They did not have very good instructions on how to adjust it. So I ended up having to kind of figure it out on my own. And the way I was adjusting it is by using that rod that is on the center of the brake pedal on the back of it. And what you do is you open up the lock nut and you have to get a vice grip with a paper towel around the thread, and you have to physically rotate the thread with your vice grips. So there's nothing to rotate that on. So you have a chance of stripping it, and that's the only way that you get the action of the pedal to start sooner. Otherwise, you will have very little pressure for half of your travel. So you almost have to preload the pressure. And that's something I don't really like, because to get it to be usable, I had to crank it up a lot. And after I cranked it up like that, I started, after a month or two, I started to get this kind of weird creaking coming out of the pedals. Now, the only way to describe it is if you push the pedal aggressively and you let go slowly, like very slowly. And that's a lot of trail braking is exactly that, is pushing heavily and letting go slowly. So you notice a kind of almost like a step. You notice like a creak, 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 creak the more you let go. Almost like it's not fluidly letting go, but letting go in steps. Like there's a bushing of some sort, or something that, like something rubber, that's not allowing a smooth transition. Now this isn't the case 80% of the time, but 20% of the time you'll get this weird creak. And this is something I haven't contacted them about yet. I just wanted to make the video because it's absolutely what I've been experiencing. But other than that, I mean, the pedals feel really good. Like, that is my only complaint. and I'm almost leaning towards maybe I did something wrong while setting them up. But the fact that I'm saying that with complete uncertainty, it just shows that there's like a lack of support online for these pedals. Like there isn't a good instruction set for how to adjust these. So if I adjusted it wrong, then what am I supposed to do about that, right? I could have contacted support, but I saw some other video online. I thought it was pretty straightforward and it worked pretty well until it started developing that noise. So I'd say for $1,400 plus, if that is the case, if that's how it's gonna sound for everyone, it's gonna have this creak, I wouldn't recommend these pedals. But if there's a quick solution to that, and there's an easy fix, or maybe I have a defective pedal set and a new master cylinder or slave cylinder or whatever they use from their racing parts, maybe if that will fix the problem and maybe they won't sound like that anymore. But I just feel like it has something to do with having to adjust that preload on the hydraulics. I think it has something to do with the bushings that are inside of the bushing cylinder as well. But yeah, that was my review. To be frank, if these are the only things in stock and they are pretty competitively priced, I would go for them. I win races with these pedals and I still use them every single day. But I would implore you to make sure that you do your own research and make sure that you truly want hydraulic pedals, because I'll let you know this. They do have extremely similar characteristics on initial input as any other brake system that uses those little elastomers. But the biggest and most important advantage that these hydraulic pedals have are on liftoff. It has a more cloudy feel, and not in a bad way, but it feels like it's more reluctant to just spring back uncontrollably. It's more of a controlled release that you can predict and that you could work with very easily. So it does make trail braking easier, unless it has that weird creak. When it has that weird creak, you can feel it in your foot. Like you can feel a step, you can feel like a and it does make an annoying noise. One more thing, I thought there was a weird squeak with the pedals, but it really was just the surface of my shoe squeaking on the surface of the pedal, since it is slick. It's a slick surface. So maybe some grip tape would fix that, but otherwise I've been dealing with it and it's fine. It's grips fine. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. That's my review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I will be reviewing more stuff in the future. So yeah, stick around for that.